Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a big show lined up for you. Let's get right on into it. All right, yeah, Deboer has gotten paid, and I mean he's really gotten paid.
Comes in pretty handy down here, bub.
Oh, tut.
And this had better work out. Oh, man, you talking about a big salary. Now, first, I got to talk about something that happened yesterday. I was discussing the NCAA tournament, and I was talking about how a lot of teams had been sent to Washington, and I'll show you that. And that's the NCAA bracket, and I was talking about Auburn being sent to Washington, and also Alabama got sent to Washington. Right here, as you can see, Spokane. Now, I made the mistake of saying Spokane, not Spokane. Holy crap. Did they come after me on that?
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, get your cameras ready!
Good grief. You'd have thought I'd put a video out of me kicking puppies with a steel-toed boot. Oh, yeah. They didn't let up. So I don't know how many comments I got about it, but it's Spokane, not Spokane. I had to actually double-check it, and there it is. Yeah, Spokane, not Spokane. So obviously, I'm not the first guy that's ever made that mistake. But when you screw up on YouTube, you're going to hear about it.
Oh, well, pardon me, Mr. Perfect! I guess I forgot that you never ever make a mistake.
All right, so let's get into this Alabama story. And Coach Deboer is getting $10.87 million per year. But that's just the half of it. Deboer's contract is 90% guaranteed if he were to be fired without cause and there is no mitigation. So 8 times almost $11 million bucks. So if he gets fired after a couple of years, they're going to owe him $70 million eenies. They're all in on Deboer. But whoops, wait a minute. Let's see what happens if Deboer's not happy with Alabama. Surely he'll have to come up with a lot of money to get out of the contract, right? I mean, that's only fair. Well, guess what? If he wants to leave after year one, he owes them $5 million. Then in 2025, it's $4 million. Then in 26, it's $3 million, and then not a dime after that. So if he wants to leave for another program, more money, whatever, or he just doesn't like it there, he can leave and it doesn't cost him hardly a dime. But if they want rid of him, they've got to cut off part of Alabama and hand it to him. I tell you, these one-sided contracts are insane. And it shows you how much Deboer had him over a barrel, because in reality, they had 2 guys in mind, almost really 3 guys in mind. He was probably their 3rd or 4th choice. First guy was obviously Kirby Smart. You know, he had been a defensive coordinator under Saban and 2 natties, all that. Well, he wasn't about to leave Georgia. Are you kidding? That's the promised land for him. He's got all the recruits he could ever possibly want. And Georgia only cares about football. They could give a crap about basketball. They could give a crap about baseball. It's only football. And they don't even mince words about it. And if you don't believe that, look at their basketball team the last umpteen years. The next guy they wanted was Sarkisian. Well, he's at Texas. And what do they got in Texas? Tons of oil money.
Haven't you noticed? You got to be a man to play in my league.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're loaded with the oil money. They don't need anything out there. He's got everything he could possibly want and more money than Alabama could possibly put together. I'm pretty sure there's not a whole lot of oil in Alabama. So they weren't going to get him. They talked to Mike Norvell at Florida State. Florida State was not about to let that happen, so they ponied up and paid Norvell big time. And he'd come off an undefeated season, so he earned it. So Deboer was probably their 3rd or 4th choice, and actually a pretty darn good choice. He has been a very good head coach out there at Washington. Now, he lost his offensive coordinator, so we'll see what happens after that. I don't know whether he was part of the secret sauce or if it was all Deboer, and it may very well have been. But we're going to find out. But I can tell you one thing. If this doesn't work out for Alabama, they're stuck with him. Otherwise, it's going to be a Jimbo Fisher deal where they're going to have to basically pay him half of the state revenue to get rid of him. Now, granted, at Texas A&M, they got the oil money, so they probably just gave him 2 or 3 oil rigs and sent him on his way. But they're not going to be able to do that at Bama, so this had better work. Now, let's talk about this Jalen Milroe situation. I am not convinced that he's going to be the starting quarterback for Alabama because of the simple fact Deboer is a pass-happy dude. He loves to throw the ball around the field, and a lot of his passes are timing passes and touch passes. If you've watched his teams, especially Washington, he had Michael Penix Jr., and that guy had fantastic touch on his passes. He was, and he was pretty much a pocket passer. So was the quarterback that Deboer had before that. And I'll actually show you that in a chart. And that's right here. As you can see, last year, Milroe threw for 2,800 yards. Hayner, who was the quarterback that Deboer had prior to Michael Penix at another team, he threw for 4,100 yards. Michael Penix threw for almost 5,000 yards. So as you can see, he wants a throwing quarterback, and he has had one for the last several years. Now, before any of you Alabama fans lose your mind, Milroe's a good quarterback. He's a fantastic running quarterback. He's a decent throwing quarterback. He's not great. He's okay. He throws a real nice deep pass, but his intermediate passing and his touch passes over the linebacker, underneath the safeties, that's where Washington kind of lives, and I'm not sure that Jalen has really got the skills for that. He's got plenty of skills, but not necessarily that one. And let's take a look at some other stats. Right here, as you can see, Hayner, he didn't run at all. He was not a running quarterback whatsoever. Michael Penix Jr., basically not at all. As you can see right here, Milroe, he was Mr. Run. He ran all the time, and that was really his strength. So you got a quarterback whose strengths don't match the coach's offensive desires. I mean, he wants a guy that has great touch, that doesn't run around the field that much and doesn't get hurt. That's one of the reasons he doesn't like him to run. And he also has this very complicated offense that gets guys open, and it does a very good job of that. It's not the same offense as Josh Heupel runs. Heupel runs all kinds of quick slants and all kinds of cool little plays that are really, really fast that gets guys open, whereas this dude is all about movement. He has got so much movement in his offense, it's crazy, and he gets guys open that way. He does a really good job of that, but you've got to throw the ball on time, and it better be accurate. And if it's not, his offense is not going to work so well. Now, can he change his offense to suit Jalen Milroe, which is what he's going to probably have to do? I don't know that he's going to want to do that. And he brought in his own quarterback from Washington that was handpicked by him, and he's actually a very good quarterback. And that's Austin Mack. He's a big, tall guy, has a real good touch, and might be a better fit. Now, I don't know if he's ready. He would be a sophomore. He's already played 1 year as a backup. At Washington, he knows the system. So it's going to be very interesting to see. That to me, is the second biggest quarterback story of the year going into 2024. Number one is obviously Nico. Now, Nico had a fantastic start in his first bowl game, which was the Citrus, and scored 4 touchdowns. So everybody's pretty fired up here in Knoxville about him. But he's probably the number one quarterback story going into 2024. The second one to me is what Alabama does with Jalen Milroe. Will he be the starting quarterback long term? Are they going to pull Austin Mack in there? They've got some other guys that have some nice arms down there. We'll see. I'm very interested. Milroe may very well stay as the starting quarterback, and he may flourish in this system. You never know. He may be able to work with his mechanics and kind of get him squared away. But touch it's hard to teach touch. It just really is. And timing, those are things that you kind of innately have or you don't. So I'm going to be interested in watching that. I think the Alabama story is going to get a lot of attention, and who the starting quarterback is long-term is going to have a huge impact on Alabama's success and or failure. And if it doesn't work out with Coach Deboer, you better get used to him, because I don't see Alabama ponying up $67 million if it doesn't. All right, folks, did want to cover that. I thought that was pretty interesting. They've really paid this guy and paid him well. And like I said, he had him over a barrel. That's the thing about when coaches leave nowadays. You're under so much pressure, and especially if it's done with transfer portal. I mean, it's like you get 30 days immediately you can leave. So the teams and the schools are under unbelievable pressure to bring a head coach in quickly. They cannot hesitate. And that's really unfortunate, because you can't take your time like you used to be able to. If you timed out your head coach retiring at a certain spot, you could work around that pretty well. No more. Not with that transfer portal. So we'll see how it plays out. You know, Alabama has lost 4 or 5 stars ever since Saban left, including Caleb Downs, which was a monster loss for Alabama. Now, they've got well over a dozen 5 stars anyway. So, I mean, they're going to be fine talent-wise. But we'll see how this plays out. It may not stay that way long term. We'll see. It's not like they have tons of money down there, and they used to get the Nick Saban discount. That Saban discount, that sale's over with. Okay, that sale's done. Now it's going to be, what does Deboer do? He may work out, he may not. But he'd better, for Alabama's sake. Otherwise, there's going to be some people upsetting down in Bama land.
I don't give a piss about nothing but the Tide, baby.
Don't give a piss about nothing but the Tide.
I love America and I love the Tide, baby. And I love Will and Adele.
That's right.
Don't give a piss about piss but the Tide.
Tide, go get them. Tide, go take them down.
Absolutely. And they take their football very seriously down there, as you can tell from that little clip. They don't play around. So anyway, if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Let's continue to cover the SEC, all these big college stories, of course, my Vols. If you've not subscribed, it's just right there. I mean, just hit that little button.
Come on. Come on. Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
It's no big deal. Boom, and you're done. And right over here's most recent video YouTube thinks you'll enjoy based on your viewing history. And we'll see you next time on Sports Talk J.